So today, it's all about our Holy Father. It's all about the successor of St. Peter. It's all about Pope Francis. And today is Social Issue Mondays. So before we begin, I need everybody to leave a comment in the section below. I know that this rosary, I've read that you cannot wear it around your neck like this. That it's like frowned upon. Can somebody confirm that for me? So until then, I'm going to leave this on right here. So Pope Francis came to America. A lot of people, a lot of individuals didn't know what to expect with him coming to America. But what we did know is that he was going to be the very first Pope to ever speak in front of the U.S. Congress. And he was going to be the 5th Pope to speak in front of the United Nations. Now this Pope is really touching the hearts of everybody. He's did a lot here in America. He came to Washington, D.C., he went to Philadelphia, he went to New York. Now, the unfortunate thing is that we didn't get to see him on the West Coast. He didn't come to Seattle or California, but that wasn't his goal. His goal was to be able to touch the lives of our politicians. Basically, whenever I say this, is to get their act straight. What they are doing is wrong, and he was trying to tell them that. So even though that he did a lot here in America, we're going to speak specifically on what he did here in Congress. So one of the things that I was interested in is how were they going to announce the Pope to the U.S. Congress? You know, whenever somebody walks into Congress, they have to announce them. That's just how it works. And so here it is. This is how they announced Pope Francis to the U.S. Congress.
Mr. Speaker, the Pope of the Holy See.
All right, so that was very, very awesome. Mr. Speaker, the Pope of the Holy See. I figured that they were going to do something, Mr. Speaker, Pope Francis, or something very basic. But whenever they said the Holy See, that like really was the kicker. So while he was speaking to Congress, he did many things. He spoke about, you know, but before he spoke, he knew that he had to gain the trust of the Americans. The first time he was here. And so how did he do that? He went and he said that he was proud to be in the land of the free and the home of the braves. And at that moment in time, Republicans, Democrats, straight, gay, black or white, we all stood up, we all cheered. You know, he really knew how to enter the hearts of everybody. And so the very first thing that he spoke about was how politics was a responsibility. You get some of these career politicians in there that their goal is to only find ways to stay in office. They don't do anything for the public. Yes, they might go out and shake hands. Yes, they may listen. But do they do what they say? And what he was saying was, what he wanted to say was that their job is to help grow America. And what's happening is the poor is staying poor and the rich is staying rich. And while the poor is staying poor, he started talking about family, where it's very hard for a poor couple to get married and have kids. Financially speaking, you know, I wouldn't be in the means to have kids either. And I understand what he was saying. Whereas the rich, they're preoccupied and finding ways to stay rich, and that they're not really doing anything to help America. And so this is the quote that he used. He was like, Well, there's more to politics than re-election and scoring points against your rivals. He spoke about how politicians needs to focus more on the poor instead of the elite. Now, we all know that the only way a politician can get re-elected is if he has the money, and the money comes from the rich. And so that's why the favoritism of the rich. So that's why he brought this up, is to get away from that. I don't think there's any entity in this world that can change that view, but he spoke on it. Pope Francis also spoke on the death penalty. Now, the death penalty is a very touchy subject. In my opinion, the death penalty it depends on the method in which you killed. If you go and you kill somebody on accident, I don't think the death penalty, like, there is no accident, but like, there's, for example, if somebody runs into the street and you hit them and kill them, it's wrong, I understand it, but you didn't do it on purpose. But if you go out there and you shoot somebody and you had the means, or you had the mindset and the intentions to kill, I'm okay with the death penalty. Is it right to kill others? I don't know. He went and he said the following. He went and on the death penalty, he started talking about guns and why are guns being sold to individuals without basically a background check, and started speaking on that. One thing that Pope Francis also talked about is same-sex marriage. He without getting too specific, he started talking about the foundations of a relationship between a man and a woman. And that he didn't necessarily say that it was a bad thing that we legalized same-sex marriage, but he didn't say it was wrong either. He kept it very basic, very general. Now, we all know that the Catholics don't believe in same-sex marriage, which is okay, each to their own. I'm a gay man. I believe that everybody should have the right to get married, whether it's a man, a woman, two women, or two men. That's just how it is. Like, if I saw a woman and a man out there getting married, it doesn't affect my life at all. If I was to marry somebody of the same sex, I'm not going to affect their life at all. In their mind and in their hearts, they may think it's wrong. That's great. I get it. But don't make my choice of getting married obsolete. Very simple. So he spoke on that, and he also spoke on abortion. He is a pro-life pope, and he believes that life starts in the womb of a pregnant woman, which I get. I, for one, am I don't know if I'm pro-choice or pro-life. This is what I do know, is that it depends on how you got pregnant. If you got pregnant by rape, I believe that you have the opportunity to get an abortion. And it has to happen pretty quickly. Like, if you get into the 3rd trimester and you want to have abortion, then, like, it's too late. If you had sex and it was consensual and you wanted to have a baby, you cannot get abortion. That's my belief, is that you participate in the act of having a baby willingly, and that now you have to take the responsibility of you know, nurturing that child. That is my belief, and that's basically the belief of the popes, except that he's pro-life, 100% pro-life. It doesn't matter how you got pregnant or not. So he just spoke about abortion, and his stance on abortion. And then he went and he spoke about climate change. He never used the word climate in any of his speech. He kept it very vague. But if you were able to read between the lines, then you were able, like, you understood what he was saying. But he was linking climate change to human activity. And we have to find ways to make America and the world greener. We have to preserve what, in his words, God gave us. So climate change was a very vague subject that he talked about, But he did put that information in there. And lastly, he talked about family. Family is the foundation of America. Family is what grows America and the world. And he talked about how with family, it's so hard to create a family because America is focusing on the rich instead of helping the poor. Now, we know that Catholics are very poor-driven individuals. And when I say that, I mean that they feed the poor and they shelter the poor, and that they welcome the rich to help in that need. And that American politicians in America is favoring the rich and moving away from the poor. And so he just talked about families and how everybody, whether you're rich or poor, black, white, gay or straight, that family is the foundation of America, and we have to support that and grow the family. So after he went and he spoke to Congress, he went and he spoke in front of the United Nations. Very first Pope to speak in front of Congress, the 5th Pope to speak in front of the United Nations. He was a very powerful speaker in both of those speeches. After that, he went to New York and he prayed at the 9/11 memorial. And he's the 2nd Pope to ever visit the 9/11, which there was only 2 popes since 9/11. But it was very powerful. And lastly, he ended up in Philadelphia, where he had, or actually he had 2 masses. He had a mass at Madison Square Garden. He had a mass in Philadelphia, and there was hundreds, tens of thousands of people there watching him have mass. And then from there, he went off to Rome. So I just want to say, I am not a Catholic, but Pope Francis spoke to me. And I'm sure that you guys were able to understand and hear him as well. Even though you may not be a Catholic or you may not even be a Christian, you have to respect the Pope. But anyways, that's going to be it for today, you guys. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video with as many people as you can, and that's it.